Today is the day you will lose fat. Come see Dr. T at NJ Diet.
Easiest diet I've ever done. It's changed my life. Come see Dr. T.
Using blood work and DNA testing. 1-855-5NJ-DIET and NJDiet.com. Change your life in only 40 days with NJ Diet.
Back here on the Bernie and Sid show, man, this is really, really exciting. This is one of the real great actors of our generation. I know Dances with Wolves had about 7 Academy Awards, but on this day today, with the Yankees set to open up their season in the Bronx against the Baltimore Orioles, and our Mets, Bernie, in Washington for the Nationals.
Big day.
Before we talk about the Highwaymen, which we're really excited about, you almost have to talk to the great actor Kevin Costner about baseball. Kevin Costner, good morning, pal.
Good morning, guys.
It's great to have you on the show. And listen, before we do get to this exciting new movie on Netflix, everybody talks about Field of Dreams, deservedly so, and Bull Durham. I got to tell you, the movie that tugged at my heart, Kevin, was For the Love of the Game. To see the aging pitcher at Yankee Stadium for the Tigers, throwing the no-hitter, the perfect game, your relationship in the movie with Kelly Preston. I really thought that was a great Yankee movie.
No, that's one of my favorite movies, playing Billy Chappell and, playing in Yankee Stadium. I mean, I got to play I pitched the perfect game in the cathedral, the greatest cathedral of all, at Yankee Stadium. And so I have a memory that I will never forget, pitching there and, for about 16, 17 days in that stadium.
So this movie, Kevin Costner, The Highwaymen, it just came out. It's coming out on Friday on Netflix. Very exciting, all about the men who actually captured Bonnie and Clyde. Now, this script has been around for a while. In fact, it almost starred Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Now it's got you and Harrelson. But when did you become aware of this picture?
Well, they offered to me about 10 years ago, and I just didn't feel like it was right for me. And so 10 years, I liked it then, and so it circled back, and I began to look at it this time, and I felt that I could probably do it.
Well, listen, John Lee Hancock is a great director. We know that. He did The Blind Side, another great sports movie. So you're in great hands to begin with. And the twosome, Kevin, of you and Woody Harrelson, another great actor. That ought to be an absolute blast to work with that guy.
Yeah, we had a good time. Johnny wrote another script that I did called Perfect World.
Yes.
So Hancock and I really kind of knew each other, and we thought that we would do this again as something. And the fact that he directed me, that felt really good. But yeah, we had some big stories and some big laughs that never made it onto the screen. Probably stories that never will. so we had it was a good time, But we were able to go back in American history and kind of set a few things straight. And one for sure was Frank Hamer, who was depicted in the 67 movie as a kind of a buffoon, a clown. It turns out they made him a combination of 3 characters, and in fact, it wasn't him at all that was in that back seat. Turns out he was maybe the greatest Texas Ranger of all, and we really destroyed his reputation, and this movie reinstates it. In fact, his widow, who was in 2 shootouts with him, basically, after seeing the movie in 67, called a lawyer and said, "We're going to go sue Warner Brothers' ass."
Wow, no kidding.
She did. Wow. And for defaming, she said, "You have no idea who my husband is. He was so much courage. He was so heroic. One of the most legendary Texas Rangers. How dare you defame him?" And they settled. They understood what they had done.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it's kind of nice when your woman does that. And she was no one to fool with, and they did. And she, it was just the other people that were murdered by Bonnie and Clyde. This man's reputation was kind of murdered, and so his family, after 60 years, is pretty grateful to see the film.
So you didn't know, this guy Hamer was was kidnapped by Bonnie and Clyde, just never happened.
No, he didn't meet them till he killed them. And when they brought him out of retirement, Bonnie and Clyde would have been captured probably in the first hour or two, given our technology today.
Right.
But, listen, when we think about it, dirt roads, no radios, nothing. They were able to run free for about 3-4 years, and they couldn't catch them. And they finally went to this original manhunter, Frank Hamer. I mean, he killed more people than Bonnie and Clyde ever did. Brought him out of retirement. he picks one of his longtime friends, Manny Gall, both Texas Rangers, and in 104 days they run him down and kill him.
Wow. We started the conversation talking about baseball. You keep saying Texas Rangers. I expect you to say Richie Zisk and Juan Gonzalez here, Kevin, but obviously it's the San Chemical.
You know what? You guys cannot hide that you're baseball guys. You can't do it.
No.
Talk about people who bleed.
Right.
You just can't do it. Well, listen, I'll tell you a great story. Okay, this is for you guys and everybody who's listening. I had a real moment where I wasn't sure Love of the Game was going to happen. All right, and why? It was because they had to get me on the phone with Steinbrenner. Because Steinbrenner wasn't going to let it happen, and I said, Mr. Steinbrenner, so I don't know. I'm thinking I need my dad to make this phone call. I don't know how this is going to work. So I get on with Mr. Steinbrenner, and I said, hello, George, and hello, Kevin. And I said, he goes, listen, I love your movies. I love the Field of Dreams. I love the Bull Durham. I love that you're coming here, but we can't do this movie because the Yankees lose.
Hilarious.
That's funny.
I said, what?
Wow.
I said, what? It goes, the Yankees lose. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my God, my movie's going to evaporate. It's evaporating. The Yankees lose. And so I'm sitting on the phone and I'm thinking. And finally I say, George, I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, the Yankees lose. I read it. I go, George, they don't lose. They lose that game, but they've already won the pennant. They've already won the pennant. George, this is a meaningless game. There's only 2 games left. You guys are going on to the playoffs. Detroit's going nowhere. I said, Billy Chappell has just showed up. He's kind of bummed out, too. He's lost his Griffin. Forget about that, George. The Yankees don't lose. The Yankees win. In fact, you actually go on to win the World Series. And he goes, really? And I said, yeah, George, of course they lose this game. But that's because you have guys that aren't even, haven't played much this season. Of course they lose. And you know what? He said, Kev, you come make that movie here.
Awesome.
And I was like, the sweat was coming down for it. Kev, you come play the movie here. You do what you want. I know you'll respect the Yankee tradition. And, they won the World Series that year. And, he gave me a ring.
Wow.
And I have never won it.
How about that?
He was a guy of very big gestures, and I've never worn it to this day. Because that's something sacred, and that's something that you just don't do. But that was a little secret story of mine, and now the cat's out of it. George goes, no, you can't come. The Yankees lose.
We have a scoop.
I'm telling you, I didn't know what to say at that.
No,
moment.
that's a great story.
Was riding on
that may be your best acting job yet, Kevin. The good news is George really can't debunk that story at this point. You know that.
I think it speaks well of him.
Yes, it does.
So much.
He wanted to win everything.
The Yankees so much.
Yeah,
even in the movie. To win everything.
Yeah, even in the movie. So why did you? We should know this, but we should know this, but we don't. Did you grow up in Detroit? Why were you a Tiger pitcher in that movie?
Well, we had that's just how it was written.
Okay.
So I didn't think to change that.
Very good. Kevin Costner, listen, the movie is The Highwaymen. It debuts on Netflix on Friday. The Highwaymen, all about the real cops in the Bonnie and Clyde movie. Now, when you were a teenager, that movie came out, Bonnie and Clyde. Did you go see it back then?
Oh, I loved it. In fact, I was probably about 13, and I went out and bought some books, and I began to really immerse myself. My family is from Oklahoma, so they were in those migrant camps back then. And like the grapes of wrath, my family lost everything in the Dust Bowl. The bank took their money and never let it go. In fact, there's a story of my grandfather going and at 11 o'clock putting money in the bank, and the guy looking at him. And my grandmother couldn't talk. Whenever she would talk about that story, she would hiss. She just would literally hiss. She goes, I know that banker knew. She could have winked at your father, at your grandfather, could have winked at him, and it destroyed our lives. And he took that money, and we never saw it. I said, how much was it, Grandma? She said it was $12,000.
That's why Bonnie and Clyde became so popular.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
They're so legendary.
All right, so on the way out, we know you got to. Yep. we know you have to run, Kev, but
you're right.
we got to ask you this on the way out. It's lame. I know it is, but it's obligatory. All the great characters over the years. This one coming up, as Bernie's mentioned, The Highwaymen, tomorrow night on Netflix, making its premiere. It's going to be great. But whether it was Elliot Ness in The Untouchables, you were brilliant in that. Whether it was Dances with Wolves, whether it was Field of Dreams, is there one character over the many, many, many years? Even in Tin Cup, you were brilliant. Is there one character? No, Kevin?
There's a few, and I'm not ducking this question, but what I will say is the thing that I'm like happiest about my career is that when someone comes up to me, I'm never certain what movie's going to come out of their mouth.
Right.
And I love that. And it's usually one of about 12. And I'm happiest about that. You know, I love playing Billy Chapel. I love playing Crash Davis. I love playing Charlie Waite and Foster Waite in Open Range. I mean, it's been a good run for me. And I think I'm probably happiest right now at this moment, knowing what kind of guys you are, or pretending to know what kind of guys you are, that you now know about your legendary George Steinbrenner. I'm glad I gave you that story.
No, that was a great story. We were huge fans before this conversation. We're even bigger fans now. Thank you for the George Steinbrenner story. Best of luck with the Highwaymen, Kevin. And when you're back in New York City, we're at Madison Square Garden. You'd love it here. Come by and say hello. We'll get you a Billy Chapel jersey from Mitch Modell's. How about that?
Listen, God bless, guys. See you at the
Thank
movie.
you, Kevin Costner. The Highwaymen tomorrow on Netflix. It's about the real cops and Bonnie and Clyde on the Bernie and Sid Show on 77 WABC. We're coming right back.